Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Friday, March 31st. I'm your host, Kate Walker. A doctor named in a civil lawsuit in connection with the death of a Cumberland County woman who died in the ER says her death was not caused or brought about by negligence or lack of care on his part. 37-year-old Allison Holthoff died at the Cumberland Regional Health Centre on New Year's Eve of last year. Dr. John Attia's lawyer filed the defense in Supreme Court yesterday. The suit was filed in February against Attia and Nova Scotia Health by Holthoff's husband and her 3 children. In the defense, Dr. Attia says his only involvement in Holthoff's care between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. was when he ordered tests and investigations soon after she was triaged. It also said that Attia was the only ER doctor on duty despite the 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. period, normally having 2 doctors in the ER, and he was dealing with 8 critical cases, 4 psychiatric emergency cases and 4 pediatric cases, including 1 pediatric stroke. The document denies the allegation that Attia failed to respond to the pleas of nursing staff and says there were no pleas. It further says that he worked his shift in a consummately professional manner, fully dedicated to the patients for whom he was working. None of the claims in the case have been proven in court, and no date for a trial has been set. Nova Scotia Health filed its defense earlier this month. The controversial transit-only Spring Garden Road pilot project is being delayed again, but with an eye to making changes to the plan. The new approach to the transit-only corridor would run from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week along a 400-meter section of Spring Garden Road. The original pilot project was yanked 5 days into its year-long run in July 2022 due to confused drivers and safety concerns. The plan for the 12-month pilot was to direct all traffic except for buses, bicycles, and pedestrians away from the street, but it was a confusing mess for drivers, and the only time it worked was when Halifax Regional Police were on site directing traffic. City staff were aiming for an approval of an updated approach on Thursday in order to restart the project in May or June, but councillors voted to defer the matter. It'll likely be next year. Some of the key differences in the updated approach are changing the transit-only time on the street from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., a change to the signs that will be prohibitory instead of explanatory, reassigning lanes using temporary barriers, painting the pavement with transit priority markings, dedicating an on-site Halifax Transit supervisor for the duration of the pilot, and Halifax Regional Police Enforcement patrolling heavily through the first 2 weeks and ongoing enforcement after that. Next, to the resilience of Rouge Fatale. Rouge Fatale is a star drag queen of the East Coast and a Nova Scotian well-known internationally. You may have seen her strut across stages and in our summer pride parades. Underneath the voluptuous padding and makeup is Jason Spurl, who was originally from Cape Breton and spent significant time growing up in the north end of Dartmouth. For nearly 2 decades, Spurl led the drag community and advocated for the queer community. But things quickly changed after a fall in 2020, leading to a diagnosis of sciatica and ultimately a broken neck.
I wouldn't change it for the world, though, because it showed me how much work we still had to do in this city, period, for everybody. Anybody with a disability.
After a surgery on their spine, the return to the drag world would be an uphill battle, especially on high heels. But they came back with a new perspective behind inclusivity, accessibility. When they began hosting regular drag shows at Staggers on Dartmouth's Portland Street, they worked to make the entrance and bathroom accessible and even installed a ramp to the stage for anyone to perform. Now, Rouge Fatale is back. She's already hosting events and appearing in acting roles. Jason Spurl continues to recover, refine, and rewrite what it is to be a drag queen and an icon of Nova Scotia. It's time now for another edition of Wine of the Week with SaltWire sommelier Mark DeWolf. The weather reports have been showing a gradual rise in temperatures, and with more spring weather on the horizon, Mark has a great wine for seasonal entertaining.
Finally, it's spring, and spring to me means fresh flavors on the dinner table. I think of fresh salads, baked fish, simply prepared chicken, and light pasta dishes. Little better pairing than New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and this one from Yealand's delivers all you expect. Fresh citrusy flavors, passion fruit, a little herbal character. It's a great wine to add life to your spring dining table.
And for more wine tips, recipes, interviews, and more, head to the Wine and Dine section of SaltWire.com. It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with law professor Wayne McKay about the recommendations in the Mass Casualty Commission's final report.
Really did highlight the fact that they took this very seriously and did not pull any punches whatsoever when they were talking about the way the RCMP handled this case.
Well, not only did he say that in a very effective way in the press conference, but it was clear that it was sincere. And I think that's really an important message for all Canadians and Nova Scotians, that it would be somewhat of an insult to this tragic loss of lives and to the families and the people themselves if we don't act on these recommendations and make some significant changes to change the pattern for the future. And why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we try to make a safer society? And why wouldn't Canada try to set itself up as a model of what to do? And I think the Commission's kind of given us a blueprint for that. And now it's up to us to deliver on that.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of SaltWire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
The Eastern Canadian Basketball League has finally tipped off, and the Truro Tide played their first home game last night. SaltWire's Brendan Creamer was there. Brendan, your first overall impressions of the game, the venue, the crowd, all of it.
It was excellent, Scott. I mean, it was really stormy last night. I wasn't really knowing what to expect until I got there and saw this amazing crowd. The energy from the players was just, you could tell that they really wanted to be there. And after so long of having the idea of this league in their heads, they finally got to get onto the court and play. It was excellent.
The team, for now, playing out of the Cobequid Educational Center Gymnasium. What was the venue like, and what was it like watching the game there?
You might be a little skeptical because, you know, it is a high school gymnasium, but thankfully the CEC got a pretty great court there. It seated, it must have been hundreds of people. And I mean, you know, it didn't affect the game whatsoever. It was a pretty great venue overall, considering.
So would it be fair to say that SaltWire's Brendan Creamer is now a Truro Tide fan?
Oh, consider me one. Absolutely.
Brandon, thanks for taking the time to do this and filling us in. Great news, and wonderful to see Truro on the court and the Eastern Canadian Basketball League finally tipping off. Thanks for your time.
No problem. Thanks, Scott.
In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now to see what's coming up in the weekend forecast. We're going to check in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Happy Friday, Kate. Well, we had that brief but intense squall line move through late yesterday, brought some snow along it, and then some patchy bands of flurries and snow showers behind it into early this morning. Any accumulation, though, was melting today with the sun making an appearance and, of course, temperatures warming up. Now, hard to believe the first weekend of April is here, but it will be marked with some wet and windy weather, at least to start. This evening we'll have increasing cloudiness and the temperature will be near +1, and we'll start near the freezing mark tomorrow morning, and as precipitation moves in, that means it will initially begin as a bit of wet snow or some wet flurries, really no significant accumulation. Temperatures will be rising, so we'll see any wet snow changing over to rain showers, periods of rain tomorrow afternoon with the temperature near 7 degrees, and it will be windy southeast to southwest winds of 30 to 60 kilometers per hour. Now, the rain will start to taper off to some scattered showers and drizzle Saturday night into Sunday. There will be a frontal line, a cold front that will move through as the system departs. So we could see another shot of some showers on Sunday morning, but overall clearing throughout the day, some sunshine as we go into the afternoon on Sunday and a high of 8 degrees. So while the weekend's starting on a wet and windy note, we do have a bit of sunshine on the way to end it. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com. And you can find us on social media. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here Monday.